You know how the progressives, they're always, we've wanted them to vote as a bloc. And remember when they said they were gonna? So this is try us. House progressives finally flex their power. Remember this? Progressives are gonna flex their power. I hope they don't go crazy flexing all the power they have. Too much. Don't flex too much. So you remember this is from September. So this article is from September 30th, right? So it says, for years, progressives have floated the idea of acting as a bloc and using their power to shape the Democratic agenda, a tactic levied by some of the most influential congressional caucuses. So the Congressional Progressive Caucus has like around 90 people in it, or almost, I think maybe even 100. I don't know. But there's a lot. And so they never vote as a bloc to do anything because they're not progressives. They just say that to get you to vote for them. For years, progressives has floated the idea of acting as a bloc. Yeah, we have a lot of floaters, all right. There's a lot of floaters in the Democratic Party. On Thursday, they finally did it. Progressives stood by the threat they issued this summer when they promised to vote against the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It was considered in the House without a concurrent vote. So, there's the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill. And once they decoupled them, it was over, but they did. And so the infrastructure bill is the one that they were going to give in on. I'll vote for that if we get the reconciliation bill, which had all the stuff in it that the Democrats wanted that would help people. So they were like, screw it. We're not going to vote for your infrastructure until we get that guaranteed. So they did it, right? So they stood up to them. Effectively, they argued the infrastructure bill wouldn't pass unless a broader $3.5 trillion package did first, right? By holding their ground and pursuing a course of action, they could derail both bills. Progressives hope to force moderates in their own party to offer some type of commitment on the reconciliation measure. They hope to force what? Sounds risky. I don't know. They hope to force moderates. I don't know. I don't think we're supposed to force things. More than half the members of the 96 people are in the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and half of them maintain their intention to vote down the infrastructure bill on Thursday, thereby guaranteeing its failure. Look at that. The commitment led House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to delay the vote since Congress still hasn't agreed on what reconciliation package should include. The move marks a huge shift in the way the Congressional Progressive Caucus has used its power and what it has asked of its members. Prominent progressives have long argued that even a subset of the caucus stayed united, it could influence major legislation and make ambitious policy demands. They could do it. You could do it. Modeling themselves after methods used by groups such as the Conservative Freedom Caucus and the Moderate Blue Dog Coalition. Wow, this marks a massive shift in them doing the thing they promised to do right away. By acting as a bloc, the caucus has been able to make substantive demands, sometimes in the form of direct threats, and pressure moderate senators like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema to bring concrete reconciliation if they are throwing their weight around. They're making threats. They're making it all happen. I don't know about all this force and threats. It sounds like a form of misogyny. Anyway, whether the Congressional Progressive Caucus can secure simultaneous votes on the two bills and whether Manchin and Sinema bend the additional pressure and back more ambitious legislation, it remains to be seen. Don't be so pessimistic. There's the possibility, for instance, that moderates walk away altogether, meaning that neither the infrastructure bill nor the budget reconciliation package. Well, come on, don't be so goddamn pessimistic. Despite these risks, progressives' confidence in their gambit underscores a new willingness to stand by their position and use their weight as real stakes hang in the balance. They have the responsibility to vote for the lesser of two evils. Look, well, Try us, Jayapal told reporters earlier in September. Now we're ready. She said that before she goes, try ya. By the way, every time I see her name, I misread it as PayPal. I don't know. Am I the only one who misreads her name every time as Pramila PayPal? I always want to think it's... Now we're ready, she emphasized to Vox ahead of Thursday's showdown. Oh, boy. How'd it go? Well, progressives reeling after moderates inflict savage blow. So now, a month later, this is from September, the Democrats ditched paid family leave Wednesday from their vast social safety net program and yet another cave to Senate moderates. What happened to all that tough talk? What happened to all that tough talk? So they caved on it. And now, in November, they say House progressives, they reverse. They say they're going to vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill after So even Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair Representative Pramila Jayapal said on Monday that members will vote for a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, despite no assurance from Joe Manchin that he will vote for a separate 1.7. So it's down from $3 trillion. They brought it all the way down to $1.75 trillion, and Manchin still isn't assuring that he's going to vote for it, but they're going to do what Joe wants. Just so you know how they went from tough talk in September to we are standing together and trying to just try us. Well, they tried you and you guys caved. They caved 100%. But what did they get for it? The president says he can get 51 votes for the bill, Jayapal told Andrea Mitchell on Monday. We're going to trust him. They're going to trust Joe Biden. You know what? I'd feel more comfortable trusting Hunter Biden. They're going to trust Joe Biden. Next time, go through Hunter, maybe. He knows how to get deals done. So, of course, that's not going to happen. Earlier in the day, Manchin held a press conference in which he accused House progressives of playing political games and said, holding the bill hostage is not going to work in getting my support for the reconciliation bill. So what did they do? Well, they just caved. The House settled the vote last week. Passed. So there you go. It passed. It was supposed to be one of the two larger spending packages. That was supposed to be one of the two. But Chuck Schumer said the Senate would pass. And then the other being via the budget reconciliation process. That's the ones they really want, which requires a simple majority to pass legislation or opposed to 60 votes through regular order. PayPal has said her caucus would not vote for the bipartisan deal until the Senate also passed the reconciliation bill. She is putting her foot down. Indeed, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said back in June, let me be really clear on this. We will not take up the bill in the House until the Senate passes the bipartisan bill and the reconciliation bill. If there is no bipartisan bill, then we will just go when the Senate passes. So they're just, This is from today. Going very poorly. Biden can't nail Manchin down on Dems bill. Wah, wah. President Joe Biden is running out of patience as Senator Joe Manchin continues to drag his feet on supporting the party's domestic spending legislation. So it's the exact opposite of what they were telling you was happening. They're going to put their foot down. They're going to stand up. They're going to vote as a bloc. The exact one guy voted as a bloc. And he got everything he wanted. And the progressives caved to the corporate wing of the party and did whatever they wanted, which makes them enablers of the corporate wing of the party, which makes them enablers of Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, health. That's what the squad is doing. They're enabling all the people they're supposed to be opposing. Guess who's doing what he said he would do? This guy. Guess who's not? The squad. The Progressive Caucus. Jesus H. Christ. Hey, NBC News says Senate expected to shelve Build Back Better bill. What are they moving? What are they going to try to? They're going to try and pass a voting rights bill. Hey, guess what else Joe Manchin's not going to support? Jesus Christ. Here's the latest. NBC News reports from, want to hear what the latest is? Democrat hopes dim that Build Back Better will pass before the new year. The $1.7 trillion package lacks the needed 50 Senate votes to pass. So they voted for the thing that they did, and they did it, and they didn't get dick. Andrew Perez says Senate Democrats will move on from a bill they can pass with 51 votes to legislation they can pass once they secure 51 votes to end the filibuster. Everything will work out. Hey, Andrew, don't you understand that people need help and they need those bridges now? Roads and bridges and nothing else? We can't wait to pass that amazing bill, especially for the bridges. We need them to jump. We need those bridges because we need something for people to jump off when we put them in the next lockdown. He told us nothing would change, and that's the only promise he hasn't broken. So that's a great story. There's how they're going. So it's all over. They're not getting their bill. They're not getting their $1.7 trillion in domestic spending. One guy has outflanked them again, and it's because they're never going to fight. So again, if you think there's a Democrat inside the Democratic Party in Congress who's fighting for you, you're wrong. If you think there's one in the White House, you're wrong. They're not. They'll do it if it's easy. But if they have to go against their own party, they'll never do it. The whole point of electing them was so they would go against their own party. The whole point of electing AOC and the squad and progressives inside the Democratic Party is so they would fight back against the corporate-controlled party. They're not doing it. And so guess what? You don't get shit. But the corporations and the billionaires get everything. The largest upward transfer of wealth happened during COVID. How did that work out for you? Hey, come see a live stand-up show. We're doing New Year's Eve in Studio City. In January, we'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina. In February, we're going to be in Philadelphia. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all our tickets.